The 100 Days of Game Dev Challenge. It's pretty self-explanatory. For 100 days, you work on your game and post about it on social media. This gets you in the swing of progressing your game, presenting your game, and taking on feedback for your game.
I took on this challenge to complete the museum builder demo for my game. I still have a little bit more to do on it, but the challenge really helped me stay motivated throughout the development. Let's take a look back on the 5 key stages I went through during the challenge and find out what's happening next for the demo.
The first stage of the challenge was the hardest. If you don't have a plan, 100 days into the future is quite daunting, and at this point, you don't have any progress to look back on for motivation.
For me, this was compounded by the fact I was completely starting fresh. I felt that my previous game engine was not fit for purpose, meaning the first 25 days of the challenge was spent experimenting with simple game engine features.
Things like rendering sprites and layers, creating an input system that allows for rebinding and controller input, and working on a camera system allowing for things like a split screen effect. With these features in place, I moved on to the next stage. The second stage of the challenge was when things started to feel normal. I had a big list of things I wanted to do and loads of time to do them in.
During this stage, I worked on collision features and started using a test-driven approach to ensure a level of quality to what I made. The features I added include polygon collisions using separating axis theorem that I explained a few videos ago, and a collision system driven by quad trees. At the end of this stage, I realised whilst I had ticked a few items off my list, I still had plenty more to do with considerably less time. Most of my work was on engine features, but I was unsure how important they actually were to the demo. This was when I decided to take a break, play some games, and rethink how I approached what I was doing.
The third stage of the challenge was another hard one. Being halfway through and not really having anything substantial on the demo that I could show off was really demotivating. However, I knew if I could refocus my efforts, then I could turn things around. My main focus during this stage was creating the isometric grid to build museums on. I worked on drawing the grid, selecting positions in the grid, and highlighting areas in the grid.
This stage was incredibly important. It doesn't look like much, but I finally had some progress on the demo I could show off, which I did in Devlog 3. Unfortunately, I had to cut this stage short in May as I wanted to participate in another challenge, drawing pixel art every day, which I recently released a video on.
The fourth stage was when the challenge started to feel serious. I had some decent progress on the grid, I knew what I wanted to make, and I wanted to finish the demo in the remaining time.
Unfortunately, this wasn't as simple as I had hoped. Due to the experimental approach I took in the previous stage, I found many flaws with the grid that made working with and changing it very awkward. This is when I switched back to a test-driven approach like I had used in stage 2. I added tests for the existing functionality from stage 3 to find and fix bugs, and I also used a test-first approach to develop new functions such as adding and removing items from the grid. This test-driven approach gave me confidence in the grid, and I finished the stage happy that it was ready for the demo.
The fifth and final stage of the challenge was a scramble to get all my progress together for the demo.
Whilst the grid was great, it was incredibly limiting in its use. To make it actually useful, I needed to create some UI to interact with it.
I quickly threw together a button object to help with selecting tools, and I created a list of available items that can go into the grid. This gave me the basics of the demo, and I could really see how it was going to all come together. I had a little bit more to do, however this is where I finished the challenge.
It was fantastic to go through, and I highly recommend it to anyone, especially those struggling for motivation to work on their game. I'm super happy with the progress on the demo. It really doesn't have much more to go. However, I can't help but be disappointed I didn't finish it in time. Well, what's next? Obviously, I'll be finishing up the Museum Builder demo and releasing it as soon as I can. Make sure you're subscribed to get notified when I release the demo, and follow my Twitter @Skeffels for any and all progress updates. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Leave a like to let me know you did, and comment to give me any feedback. Thanks for watching, goodbye.